Hey everybody, welcome to Apocalypse Rising. Thanks for tuning in. Got a little lunch break here, so I thought I'd challenge myself a little, see if I could make a video in time before I have to go back to work. And it's crazy because now my phone is just blowing up. Allahu Akbar! It's out of control. I have so many articles now that I keep sending to myself. I basically have an archive. So I just kind of filter through and pick one. And today I went ahead and picked one that was talking about geoengineering. Really caught my attention because this one here is from phys.org. I think we've looked at this outfit before. And this one here was published November 17th. So a couple days ago. And simulation suggests geoengineering would not stop global warming if greenhouse gases continue to increase. And right away when I saw that, I thought, okay, first of all, I don't think geoengineering is going to be viable anyway. And now there's suggestions that even with geoengineering, we might not be able to stop global warming. So as you can see, we're going through these articles and it seems more and more like at the rate we're going now is probably worse than scientists projected worst case scenario.
Daniel?
And that's where we don't want to be in terms of finding a solution to climate change that humanity can tackle is starting to get further and further off into the distance here. So let's see what this article has to say. A trio of researchers, two with Pacific Northwest National Laboratory and the other the California Institute of Technology, developed computer simulations suggesting that using geoengineering to cool the planet would not be enough to overcome greenhouse effects if emissions continue at the current rate. So this is something that's important. It's noting that if we keep doing what we're doing now, even geoengineering might not be able to cool the planet enough.
Breakfast!
As scientists have become frustrated with the lack of progress towards greenhouse gas emission reductions, some are championing other ways to save the planet. Now we're talking about saving the planet, not in the sense of peace and love with our tie-dye shirts, but in the sense that if we don't, it's going to be a wasteland here in our lifetime.
He needs some milk!
And I'm a millennial, barely on the cusp of being Gen X. So if you're my age or younger, this is going to affect us, really quickly here. Geoengineering to reduce global warming would involve emitting particulate material into the stratosphere. So we already know it's going to supposedly reflect heat from the sun back into space, but it's not real clear if it's only going to reflect heat or if it may also potentially reflect actual sunlight. Ideas for such an effort involve releasing particles into the stratosphere, most likely by planes, and then it would kind of hang out up there and reflect heat back out into space. And supposedly that would help cool the planet. However, I'm curious, if the planet is already at a specific temperature, at what point does it start to cool the planet? Because there's already going to be that blanket of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. So I'm still uncertain even how geoengineering is going to work. The idea is based on prior research demonstrating that parts of the Earth become cooler after volcanic eruptions due to ash spewed into the atmosphere. So I also wonder, okay, we're going to put all this stuff in the atmosphere, and I'm sure there's simulations and scientists have run the maths.
21.
And they found that it would cool the planet if we put a certain amount into the atmosphere. What happens if a volcano erupts after we've put this stuff into the atmosphere? Now we're doubling that up. That sounds significant to me. It has not been tested in the real world, so we already knew that. And some researchers suggest there could be significant unforeseen side effects. I'm not even a researcher, and I'm suggesting that. So I'm glad that there's some people other than some dude sitting in his office talking about this that are suggesting there could be significant unforeseen side effects. Additionally, the same technology could, in theory, be used as a weapon. Well, I didn't actually even think about that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
But if somebody wants to go ahead and do that, I don't understand why they would need to use it as the guise of geoengineering. They could just do it now. They found that geoengineering could work, but only up to a certain point. If greenhouse gases are not curbed, they will rise to levels that would have a negative impact on stratocumulus clouds, making them thin and in some cases eliminating them. Without this cloud cover, even the introduction of particles into the atmosphere would not be enough to prevent global warming. They suggest that geoengineering would not be a solution that some have proposed if levels of greenhouse gas emissions are not reduced. So this is a short article, but what's interesting about it is that this is only really addressing reducing greenhouse gases. So that's why it's my personal opinion that carbon capture is probably the most promising solution we have at the moment. If we could ramp it up to a large enough scale that it could really start sucking carbon out of the atmosphere, then we wouldn't even have to think about geoengineering, let alone the unintended consequences that might occur from deploying geoengineering. So this just, to me, knocks geoengineering right out of the picture. I don't even know if I would talk about it anymore at this point. I don't see it as a solution. And I kind of feel like it's a waste of time. It would be a waste of money, and it could potentially make things a lot worse. So we're going to go ahead and pretty much put the dagger in geoengineering there as a solution. So I want to keep it quick today. Hopefully you can't hear the music in the background, or maybe hopefully it's Pink Floyd, The Wall. And, you know, I guess I just want to say that I'll never try to monetize this channel. You know, if you don't like end times rhetoric, if you're not into this kind of conversation, then obviously you're not going to like the content on my channel, because it's not really going to change. At least this channel. I may have other channels in the future that go over different things, but if you're not into end times, which is interesting because there are a lot of people who are into end times like myself, and I don't really know why.
The Bible.
This is the Bible.
You question the words of the mighty.
And I don't think a lot of people know why they enjoy talking about it and looking into it and thinking about where we're headed as a species when it comes to a dead end. But let's say I ever did start making money off a channel like this from Patreons or something. I mean, I'm never going to monetize it. Number one, I think I use copyrighted stuff. I'm sure I'm not the first person to think of the name Apocalypse Rising. And that's not what I'm in it for. If I ever do get money from doing something like this, I would just donate it. That would be my goal. I would donate it to help with research, help with endangered species, like that kind of stuff. That's where it would go. I just want to get the word out. This is more of a cathartic thing for me.
Smoke weed every day.
As a matter of fact, I might even use this as a pilot program for a class that I've thought about teaching. And it would be, you know, if you see those people standing around with signs and
Dip, dip, potato chip. Dip, dip, potato chip.
they're like, basically they'll say like, the economy is crashing, convince me otherwise. I want to have a class that we can't save ourselves from the catastrophic climate change that's coming, change my mind. And I would basically put forth these kinds of evidence and see what other people had to say, especially in terms of trying to change my mind. That's really what I'm interested in more than anything. It sounds like I'm just some negative guy here that's like, the end is nigh, we're all going to die. I mean, I do believe that, but that's only because I believe at this point we haven't thought hard enough about it. We haven't come together and found a solution to this. There is a solution, but a lot of times when you don't even recognize that there's a problem, how are you going to come up with a solution for that? So that's the role I think I play. And I thank everybody who watches and comments. And if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comment box and I'll try to address that kind of stuff. But other than that, I think I'm going to go ahead and get back to work. So I hope everybody has a good rest of their day, and we'll talk to you next time.